So we're here in Flintshire with providers and commissioners looking at the journey that Di would be taking from assessment right through to being supported in a care home. So we've got three people here. We've got Di, who's the older person who needs extra support. We've got Bethan, who's the social worker, and we've got Yvonne, who's the care home manager. And here in Wales, this new social work care and support assessment is being introduced. And this is an actual assessment, so we've been looking at the paperwork that's anonymised for someone there. So we'd have an integrated assessment and then an integrated care and support plan. And what we're doing is looking at whether the great information that's captured here about what matters to people can be easily developed into some person-centred thinking tools of the relationship circle, one-page profile, communication chart, really clear outcomes and history. So what we're hoping is that our social work colleagues will be able to continue to do these, and then this information here will be shared with Yvonne, who's the manager of the care home, before she meets the person for the first time. Now obviously this assessment and care and support plan will result in outcomes that will then be passed from panel to agree that this is an appropriate provision, and at the same time we'll be suggesting to the family and the person that they find the care home that they want to consider. Let's imagine that it's Yvonne's care home that they've chosen, and we want to make sure that this information is shared with Yvonne first. So before she actually meets Di, she can go with a draft relationship circle, go with a draft one-page profile, go with a draft communication chart, the actual outcomes and the history, and have a different conversation with Di when she meets him. And what that means is that people aren't telling their story again and again and again, and that Yvonne can build on the conversations that the social worker has had. So what Yvonne would then be doing is obviously meeting Di and building on that person-centred information, and then meeting the family as well. And with the family, she'll be developing what we call a family communication chart that talks about who's the nearest relative, what's the best way to contact you, how to contact you in emergency, and any other comments. Because we need to know the best ways of contacting families, and if we're having person-centred reviews, what are the days that would work for them, so we can really personalise the service for the family as well as Di. So part of the conversation that Yvonne will have with Di and the family really builds on this person-centred information and enables us to develop much more detailed support plan information. And over here, if we've got the actual tools that are going to form the paperwork here in Flintshire for care homes. So what happens next is that the care home will write to the family to confirm that a place can be offered to meet his needs, and there'll be a welcome pack as well. And then over here, as Di moves into the care home, we'll be putting learning logs in place and looking at the donuts so that the staff who are supporting Di are really clear about what they must do and where they can use creativity and judgment. Now Hannah's here because we've also been exploring from a reviewing officer perspective how this fits with the reviewing officer process and how it fits with person-centred reviews. So if I just come over here, we've been looking at the 6-week review, which will be based on working and not working from different perspectives, and also asking if I could, I would, to lead to outcomes. So here's the paperwork that Hannah and her team have to fill in, which will either be done by the social worker or the reviewing officer at the 6-week review, or over here at the annual person-centred review. And we're looking at outcome scaling, so we're looking at where the person's starting on their journey to outcomes and where they want to be. So the social worker will then, or the reviewing officer will then update the care and support plan, and Yvonne will be updating the paperwork. Over here, so we have monthly reviews where Yvonne, the manager, will be looking at the learning logs and making sure the information from the learning log is being acted upon and updating information. And then every 2 months, Yvonne will be meeting with the person themselves and the family to use the 4+1 questions, really focusing on outcomes. And over here we've got Jackie, because we've been looking at what this means for performance monitoring and how we could use the annual person-centred review to inform working together for change. And the first one will happen in Flintshire in January or February 2016. So the person-centred review is a more detailed version of the 6-week review. Again, we're looking at working, not working from different perspectives. If I could, I would. Outcomes. The reviewing officer will be updating the care and support plan. Yvonne will be updating the paperwork in the care home, and we'll be using that to inform working together for change as well.